Hello there, and welcome to our live cast tonight. Sorry, I had some technical issues logging on before. That is why I came on live and I had to go off air because there were some technical issues. My face wasn't appearing on it, so I thought we can't do it that way. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. It's a real pleasure. For those joining us for the very first time, my name is Pauline Lehman. I'm the founder of Star Riches Community Initiative. It's a charity with a mission to raise aspirations and break the cycle of Black people underachievement in education. My passion is to help parents raise high-achieving children because I believe that every child has got potential ability to do well in school, given the right support, the parental input, the right mindset, and the right amount of effort. Every child can do well in school. Every child is gifted, is unique, has got unique gift, talents, and abilities. And a lot of these talents, a lot of these giftings and potential are being wasted in the school system. And that is why my passion really is to go out there and help parents to understand the structure of the educational system so that they can help their children to do well in school. Thank you for joining us. Please say hello so I can know who is with us tonight. Thank you for joining in. It's a bit late, but I did struggle to log on before. So please let me know who is on and thank you very much for joining in. So today I'm going to be talking about a really, really important topic. It's understanding 11 plus exams. Now, I've worked with lots of parents. I've spoken and done workshops in lots of settings within our community, and parents have lots of questions. A lot of parents do not understand the structure of the school system. A lot of parents do not understand what the opportunities are, and that is why today I thought I'd dedicate it to 11 plus exams to help you or to help parents understand what 11 plus exams are, when and to prepare their children, and what are the options for their children. So I'd like you to please share this video. I know there are lots of parents within our community, parents in primary school. This would be most useful to them. So please share so that we can have more people joining in. If you have questions, I know lots of parents always have questions about types of schools and that kind of thing. So I'm going to be touching on that today so that people can take advantage of it. So what is the 11 plus exam? Now, 11 plus exams are exams that children take in year 6 to be able to have access or, have a place in a selective school. Now, for secondary school, the options are the state secondary schools, the comprehensive schools, or the grammar schools that are state selective schools. Again, children need to write an exam called the 11 plus exam to gain entrance into those schools. And then we have the independent or the private schools. They are selective as well. So children need to write exams to be able to gain access into the independent or the private schools. So while the child is in year 5, that is the best time to prepare your child effectively to be able to help them gain access or pass the exam well enough, especially if you do not live within the catchment area. So we know about the issue of catchment area. Priority is given to children within the catchment area, but in a lot of these grammar schools, at least 20% of places are given to children that live outside of the catchment area that are able to score high marks, very, very high marks in these exams. So it's really important that children pass these exams very well to be able to gain access into these schools. Now, you may ask, and people ask, well, does it really matter what school my child goes to? Why choose a selective school? Now, in the environment in which we live, education is very different to, Africa or maybe Asia, if I may say that. In Africa, schools are, there were good schools, there are good boarding schools, good schools. We all know that there are some schools that performed very well in exams, and to be able to get into those schools, we did write an exam to get into them. So similarly in this country, selective schools select the brightest children, or the children who prepare best for the exam. So I don't like saying the brightest, because you don't have to be a genius to pass the entrance 11 plus exam. So, but the children that are well prepared will eventually pass the exam. So these are usually children that are very motivated and have developed the resilience to be able to work intensely. And so within a selective school, we have these children very motivated, who want to be there, who want to do well, and the teachers are ready to push them to get their full potential manifest and to get them do well. So a selective school setting is a very, very good setting to help your child's academic ability, to come forth fully. And it's not just the academic ability. If you look at selective schools, you looked at private schools, and you compare them with the state schools, a range of extracurricular activities within selective schools is a lot more varied, a lot more, there's a lot more extracurricular activities which are really useful in developing the whole child. So it's not just focusing on the grades. So yes, when your child goes to a selective school with the putting in the hard work still, they are more likely to get the top grades. And that is why statistics shows that children who go to, or children who have the highest number of A stars and A's at A levels come from selective schools. And so do children who get, top grades, at GCSE, they also come from selective schools. So there is a good reason there. I am pro selection. I'm not saying, that if your child goes to a state or a comprehensive school, they are done. No, they are not. But what I'm saying is that when you understand as a parent the opportunities, then it's a good thing to position your child to take advantage of those opportunities, to be in the right educational setting that will help your child maximize their potential, will help your child to be surrounded by the right people, the right influences. Okay, we know how a lot of children pick up negative attitudes, negative behavior in school from their peers. So if your child is in a good learning environment, then you're more likely to ensure that issues of behavior will be a lot less. So it's going to be a lot less, and your child will be able to do well in school because they're surrounded by peers who are motivated and who really want to be in school and want to do well and have a big vision, a big dream for their future. So that is the reason why I think it is very important for you to give your child that opportunity to go into a selective school. Now, if they don't manage to have access to a selective school, it's not the end of the world. There are other things you have to put in place as a parent to support them to maximize their potential still. But in the first instance, it's important that you prepare them to be able to get entrance into these schools. Now, the next question that parents usually ask me is, when is the right time to start to prepare your child for 11 plus exams? Now, children in year 5 is the best time to really give that concerted effort to prepare your child for the 11 plus exams. However, I do encourage parents to start preparing children from the time your child goes into year 1. Now, the reason is because in some schools where children are not really stretched, okay, there is a big gap, in their learning, such that if we leave it to when they get to year 5, then eventually we have a child in year 5 who hasn't got the bare foundation. The foundations have not been laid to help the child to be able to, prepare for this exam very well. And that is why we have some children who prepare for these exams and they don't pass, or they prepare for the exams, they write the exams, and they don't do well enough to be able to gain admission into these schools. Now, competition is fierce. So even if your child passes the exam, there is no guarantee unless they pass really well with very high scores. There is no guarantee that they will get a place in these schools, especially if you do not live within the catchment area. So there's an issue of catchment area there. So from the time a child is in year 1, we need to start to use the right resources. So there are right resources to use to prepare your child for the exams, okay? And there are tutors that are specialized, and there are centers, 11 plus preparation centers that are specialized in preparing your child for this exam. But you could use these tutors when your child gets to year 5. But for a child lower down, just use the right resources and support your child's to help them develop the study skills, the resilience, to help them get the right foundation in English and math that they will need to be able to do these exams and do it and do it successfully. Now, I've got a range of resources on my website, www.starreachers.co.uk. The suggested resources there to help you start to support your child's education at home. I have always said, for those who have followed me in the past, that if your child goes to a state school, it's important that you home tutor them. You just take the approach that they're not being taught in school and you home tutor them. Now, you need resources to be able to do that. So those resources, have got some on the website I mentioned before. So you could go there and see them, and you can buy them on Amazon and just create that structured home environment for your child to start to prepare towards this exam. The exam usually covers 4 subjects. It's English, it's maths, it's verbal reasoning, non-verbal reasoning. So those are the range of books you would see on that website. So you can go there and get some books. Now, I've also had parents who have told me that their children don't want to do these exams because nobody in their school wants to do this exam. So how do you start to prepare your child's mind to want to do it? And some parents feel, well, my child doesn't want to do it, so I don't want to force them. I don't want them to be unhappy. Now, as a parent, it is your primary responsibility. Children do not look into the future. Children cannot make that assessment for themselves. They are just children. But it all depends on what we are telling our children, the things we say to them. You could start to, from quite young, start to talk to your child about some fantastic learning environments. And why not even take them for open days? Your child doesn't have to be in year 5 to be able to go in to an open day and just have a look around. Now take them to an open day, or maybe request a tour of the school, and let the child see that there are different learning environments. And that way, as your child starts to appreciate the differences in the learning environment, they're going to definitely connect and start to desire some better or more productive learning environments. So that is one way. What we say to them, from early on, to work on their mindset so that they are prepared and they really want to do it. Because a child who really wants to go into selective school will put in the effort, because it is quite rigorous, will put in the effort, will have the resilience to go through that training and go through it effectively, rather than having to drag them along and they don't really see why they want to be there. So we can do that as parents so that, we carry our children along. Talk to them about the opportunities, the reasons why they need to be in that kind of school environment. Talk to them about the range, for example, of extracurricular exposure that they would have being in that kind of school, and compare it to the range of activities that are in another school that is a local comprehensive school. That way you are stirring up their desire, you're working on their mindset, you're getting them to start to want to do something rather than you forcing them to actually do something that they don't really want you to do. So that is it. So when do these exams come up? Now, these exams or entrance exams into grammar schools come up, which are the state schools, come up in September of when a child is in year 6. And that is why the child needs to be prepared throughout all of year 5. So give yourself ample time. They come up in September when your child is in year 6, and it's important that you register them to do this exam. I've seen parents who have prepared their children and they didn't realize they had to register their children for these exams, and the children who have been well prepared have not been able to sit these exams. So you need to register your child. In some schools, the cutoff time, the deadline is different for different schools, but you need to be able to register them at least latest second week in July. I'm going to talk about a website that is really, really useful and provides a lot of information. Now, entrance exams into independent schools, which are the private schools that are fee paying, come up in a lot later in January. So again, it's important for you to know the range of schools that are available. And I would say, even for the fee paying schools, it is important to still get your child to attempt, especially if you know your child is well prepared. There are scholarship opportunities for, academic scholarships for children who do very well. There are, bursaries, means tested bursaries. There are scholarships for music, being able to play a musical instrument to grade 4, 5. That's a good thing. So if you have young children, you may start to get them to prepare for, to learn how to play a musical instrument and take grade exams. So please don't look for a local person to train them, maybe in church or within the community. That is good. That will help them learn to play, but you want them to be able to do grade exams and you want to see them moving up. So starting at age 4, being strategic, getting them to play their instrument daily for 15, 20 minutes, they will move up the grades, and by the time they get to year 5, they would likely get to grade 4, grade 5, and they should be, or you should be able to apply for this scholarship. The scholarships as well for sports, which is ballet, gymnastics. So you find out from the school what are the scholarship opportunities. There are 100% scholarships as well for children who come from disadvantaged backgrounds. So a family with an income of less than £14,000, with a child who has done really well in that exam is likely to get 100% funding for that school. So please, we can't, discard anything. We need to ensure that we put everything in place to give our children the best opportunities in the country in which we are. Now, I'm going to talk about a really important website that I would encourage you to look at to give you a lot of information about the 11 plus entrance exam. So it's called 1111plus.co.uk. So 11, which is 11plus.co.uk. So basically, the information there's so much on that website. Now you would need to register, and some of the practice tests are free and others are not free. So in certain cases, you might need to pay. It's one of the investments that you need to do. Tutors can be quite expensive, 25, 30, 40 pounds an hour. So you've got all of that, but I count it as a valuable investment that you can do for your child to position them correctly. People who are wise make right decisions for their children. Okay, so say it again. So it's 11, which is 11plus.co.uk. Please, can you type it up in the chat so that others can see it? Thank you very much, Omolara, for that. Yes, so that is it. So on that website, so if you go onto that website, you're going to have advice. There's advice to support parents to help their children prepare for the 11 plus exam. So there's a lot, there's actually a community there of parents who are taking their children to the exam preparation process. So that is a really, really useful one. So please type it up, Omolara, in the chat box so that others who are watching now or who will watch the replay later can benefit from it. So also there are mock exams that children can apply for on the website, and the different locations where they can do it. Again, that is paid, so that is something you have to pay. There are tutors that could assess your child's creative writing and give feedback. So if you get your child to do a piece of creative writing, you can pay to have somebody to assess it, or maybe you can get your child's teacher in school to actually assess it. Also, there are practice questions, which are free. So you can have lots of free practice questions. Some that you can actually download. So you feel free to take advantage of the free ones. And because this exam is about speed and accuracy, so children have so many questions to do within a short space of time. So the more they practice, the better. So take advantage of the free resources, of the ones you can print out. And also, I would say, do not hesitate to invest to buy extra questions. Hi, Joyce. Thanks for joining in. We're almost at the end now. We've been talking about 11 plus exams. How, what it's all about and how parents can actually prepare their children for these exams. Now, on that website, 11plus.co.uk, you will also be able to find a list of selective schools within your area. So there's a section there that says find a school in my area. You'll be able to type in your postcode, and it's going to bring a list of selective schools, and it's going to show you the distance from your postcode. But at least it will show you the range of selective schools or grammar schools within your catchment area. And it's really important that you know what these schools are, so that, as I said before, you can start to take your child earlier on for open days, take them for school tours, just for them to see what, how these schools are, see how, the options, the opportunities, the extracurriculars within these schools. So also, on that website, you have information about exam dates. So these exams come up at different times. They come up in September, October, but on different dates. So that website will give you information about the dates. Each individual school actually puts up their exams, and that is really important. It's important that after you've prepared your child for these exams, that they don't actually miss this opportunity to see these exams. I've seen children miss that opportunity because parents either did not even know they had to register. It's important not to work in ignorance, or they checked or they found out the information a bit later on. Okay, so it's important that we do that. Also on that website, there is a list of tutors. So you can find out, again, by typing in your postcode or by city, you can find tutors online. Also, there are really, really good 11 plus training center. I think those training centers are really good at helping children prepare for these exams well. So find out the pass rate. So before you want to enroll your child, find out, even with a tutor, find out what is the success rate. I'm not saying it's the teachers that are going to sit the exam, but if a teacher has a high success rate, or the students they've taught pass very well and actually gain admission into these schools, then the teachers themselves are doing something good. It's important. I've had parents who have paid a lot of money to tutors who have not been really good tutors. So not all tutors are good. Choose a tutor that has experience in preparing children for 11 plus exams. So Kumon, for example, is very good for giving children the foundation in math and English. I always recommend Kumon, but Kumon is not designed to train a child for 11 plus exams. So you will need an extra. So in addition to your child going to Kumon, for example, you will need specialist training to prepare your child for these exams. So that is really all I had to say about 11 plus exams. If there are any questions, please feel free to type up your questions or your comments or your contributions in the chat box at the bottom. And I just want to encourage you, the decisions we make for our children are so important. The school your child goes to, I have been in education. Joyce too has been a teacher. We know what happens in schools. And if you can invest your time, your effort, your resources to position your child in a really good school environment, they are more likely to do really well. I've seen a lot of children with potential, with ability, go through school without having any decent grades to show forth, without, missing the opportunities to be able to, go on to study the courses they want to learn. Now, what's your take about Explore Learning Centers? Now, Explore Learning is good for reinforcing. Okay, that's a bit like Kumon, for reinforcing learning. Now, in terms of 11 plus preparation, I've seen children who've gone there. They say they do prepare, but I am not very, very confident. I would say I prefer a specialist tutor, okay, or a specialist supplementary school or training center. There are some really brilliant ones, especially in London. I have a friend who's got, Shola Alabi. If you're based in London, she has 2 centers, brilliant. In Manchester, there are some brilliant centers with amazing pass rates. So if you're based in these 2 places, I can give you that information for you to connect with these schools and get your child in a really good training center. Omolara says, please, I've got a year 4 son, so a son in year 4, and I want him to do 11 plus. Awesome. That is a very, very good time to start, Omolara. I would say to you, please, I need more about it. Okay, thanks. So I would say to you, Omolara, that year 4, as I said before, it's good to start to have our kids prepared for these exams right from the time they are in year 1. The Bond series, for example, or the Sims and Schofield series, they are books you can get on Amazon, have age-appropriate books. So they have for English, maths, verbal and non-verbal reasoning, they have age 5 to 6, for all the subjects. And then when your child has gone through 5 to 6, you move them up to 6 to 7. That way you are introducing the concepts that will be tested in year 5, because everything builds on what is done in year 1 and year 2. So it's important that in year 1 and year 2, there are no gaps in your child's learning. And I did say before, we can't rely on what the children learn in school alone, because depending on the school your child goes to, sometimes the expectations are set for the children are very low. The teaching standard is very low. So we need to support our children's learning. So your child is in year 4. If you can get them into a supplementary school, get them into Kumon, get them into Explore Learning, they need to be doing some extra learning. Yes, so that by the time they get to year 5, you then get them into a specialized training for them to do throughout all of year 5. That is really, really important. I have been doing that awesome. Well done, my sister. I like mothers like that who go all out of the way for their children. That is brilliant. And please keep doing that. And I believe that, you will be glad when your child does well in these exams and actually gets a place in that school. We go to Kumon, good one. I do recommend Kumon and every other learning centers that can supplement our children's studies. Get them in from year 1. Don't mind. Now, let me say this to you. A lot of parents have been, to me to say that the schools don't encourage you. Schools will not encourage you. So you want to prepare your child for 11 plus exam and you go talk to your school teacher, especially if your child goes to a state school in a deprived area, they will not encourage you. They're going to tell you, oh, they can't pass. They can't go to that type of school. I've had parents tell me that. So it's none of your child's teacher's business. It is you and what you want for your child and where you see your child, the vision you have for your child. Your friends might not believe it. Your neighbors might feel you are overworking your child. You know what you want for your child. So you focus on what you have to do to ensure that your child's full potential comes out and you position them aright. Later on, when people see your child and they see the outcome, they will be wondering why. It is possible. Our children can do it. It's not for a selected group of people. These opportunities are out there for everybody. And yes, I've spoken a lot about 11 plus, and people will be wondering, what about the state schools? Now, I've always said, if your child goes to a state secondary school, you need to definitely put things in place to support their learning, to help them achieve their potential. You need to either step in and do it yourself. get a tutor, get him to supplementary school, but you need to be doing some extras. And that is what, these extras students get in selective schools or even in private schools. So please, let's make sure we make the right decisions, the right choices for our children. If you need to move neighborhood to ensure that your child gets the maximum opportunity to gain entrance into these schools, it is a very good decision to make. There is nothing like that. You're like having your child being surrounded by the right influences, being in an environment where they will be challenged, being in an environment where the teachers will set high expectations for them, being in an environment where, that sense of self-belief will be increased, being in an environment where they will have great dreams, big dreams, because people around them have big dreams. Thank you very much, Shay. Says very insightful. Thank you very much. So yes, please feel free to share this. I believe that we can turn around the negativity surrounding our children, Black children underachieving relative to other ethnic backgrounds. Why are we underachieving? I believe that we need to work together as a community to empower others, share vital information with others. So if you know somebody that this might benefit, any parent in primary school in the UK needs to hear this so that they can make the right decisions for their children. I believe in you as a parent, and I pray for you that God gives you the grace to be able to support your child. I believe in your child. I believe that there is greatness in your child. Don't let anyone limit your child. Having dyslexia does not limit your child. Dyslexia does not affect your child's intelligence. So don't let anybody limit your child. ADHD, all those things does not affect your child's intelligence. So don't let anybody tell you your child can't do this and can't do that. Step in, and ensure that you do your role. You are your child's first teacher. Remember that. You have your child's best interest at heart, more than the schools, more than the social workers, more than everybody who thinks they love your child. You have their best interest at heart. So you go out there, you pour in and invest yourself into your child. Investing in your child is the investment that will yield profits. So we've come to the end of it. Thank you very much to everyone who has joined in today. Thank you for your time. Please feel free to share so that it will benefit others. If you haven't liked this page, Star Richards, facebook.com/SRCI, all in uppercase, /2016. Please like it so that when I come up to share useful information, that, you will get a notification. Oh, thank you very much. You are blessed, my sister, too. Thank you for joining. So you have a great weekend, and until next week, God bless you richly. Goodbye.